Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are continuing with chapter number 15 of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Today we'll cover six verse number 6. न तद्भास्यते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धामं परमं मम. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So first of all, thank you all so much for joining. And good to see you again, Brenda. It's been a while. So today we are going to understand about the glories of the spiritual world. And that's what Krishna is talking to Arjuna about his abode, which is actually called Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. Now, so far we have heard from verse number 1 through 5 about the huge banyan tree and how that banyan tree is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, and that's why it is upside down. The tree, the leaves are all down and the roots are up, and that's how we see it when we see a reflection. So Krishna tells Arjuna, if someone understands this tree, that means that person has understood the Vedas, it's very difficult to read in one lifetime, but if somehow or the other we can understand this tree. So the description is given about this upside down banyan tree, and also Krishna says it's difficult to perceive it. That leaves are this, branches are this, it's upside. For us to imagine, like for us to think that we are upside down, our head is down, legs are up, that's difficult to perceive. So this is what Krishna is talking about, that this banyan tree has no beginning and it has no end. But until and unless we cut down this tree, that doesn't mean we go around and cut down banyan trees. No, we have to cut down this perverted reflection of the banyan tree by with full determination, Krishna says. And how do we get that determination? When there is detachment. Now, for us to detach from something, that means we have to attach ourselves to something. We human beings, we want to be attached, whether to things or people, family, whatever it is. But Krishna says, until and unless one gets attached to me, it'll be difficult to become detached. Now, if we get detached, then we become qualified to go back to the spiritual world. And that's what he's explaining here in chapter 15. He's actually giving us knowledge about what his loka looks like. Loka means his abode. What does it look like? What all can we find over there? And what is the result of going over there? Krishna says, once who comes to my Goloka Vrindavan does not come back into this material world. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has told Arjuna, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avartino Arjuna. Mam upetya tu kantaya punarjanmana vidyate. So even if one goes to the highest material planet, which is Brahmaloka, one has to come down to this earthly planet. And what do we find in this earthly planet? Is it a clubhouse? No, it's not a clubhouse. It's not full enjoyment. There is birth, disease, old age, death, miseries caused by material nature, miseries caused by other people, other living entities, miseries caused by mind and body. So Krishna says best is you come back to my spiritual world. Now, before this verse, he gave us a formula for someone who is qualified to go back. And he says that person has to be free from false prestige, free from illusion, free from false association, free from lust, free from dualities. You're like, that's too many, too many things to be free of. But it is important. And person who is not bewildered, Krishna says that person is able to surrender unto me and come back to my spiritual abode. So today's verse is talking about, it's actually glorifying the spiritual world. What is it? Spiritual world is not like the material world. Over here, if we switch off the lights in the night, can we see anything? We cannot see anything. So here we need artificial lights to light up and to be able to see. But in Krishna Loka, he says there is no need for sun, moon, fire, or electricity. That means is it dark over there? No. The whole Goloka Vrindavan is illuminated by the effulgence of the Supreme Lord, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. Now, the good point is, if we go to the spiritual world, we do not come back here in this material world. So, just the shining effulgence of Krishna's body is sufficient to illuminate the whole Krishna Loka. So, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is explanation of material world and the spiritual world. So, material world is considered only 1/4 of the whole creation, whereas the spiritual world is 3/4 of the creation. The whole creation is divided into two parts. And the spiritual world, all the planets in the spiritual world are called Vaikunthas. Kuntha means anxiety. Vaikuntha means no anxiety at all. Because there, everybody is a pure devotee of the Lord. So there is no anxiety. Now, the question is, do we want to be free of anxiety? If yes, then the only place is going to be Vaikuntha. So, Krishna is, in fact, the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the chief of all the Vaikuntha planets, the spiritual planets, is called Goloka Vrindavan. And Vrindavan is the place where Krishna resides permanently. Now, if we have a goal to go back to the spiritual world, which is Vaikuntha, then Krishna says we need to cut down this material tree. Until and unless we cut down our attachment to materialistic life, we will not be liberated and we will not be qualified to go back to the spiritual planet. So, as long as we are conditioned in this material world, what is the conditioning? I am this body. I'm going to live forever. All my relatives are going to live forever. All my possessions are always going to be with me. This is all illusion and it is conditioning. So the purification process is given by Krishna to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Now we've covered so many chapters. Right from chapter 1, we have come to 15. We are almost towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita. And in every chapter, Krishna is talking about surrendering unto him. That's our job. We are human beings with philosophical intelligence, and that intelligence is meant not to just eat nicely, sleep nicely, mate nicely, defend nicely. No, even the animals do that. So, since we have this philosophical intelligence, we need to utilize it. How? By understanding who am I. And the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2 itself, Krishna gives the foundation of the whole Bhagavad Gita, which is I am not this body. He explains Dehi no asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muyati. He's explaining to Arjuna that you become a dhira, a sober person. Sober person is not someone who does not smile or who's always, sitting with a face hanging down. No, sober person is a learned person who understands that the spirit soul, which is in the body, is passing in that same body from boyhood to youth to old age. and then at the time of death, it goes on to another body. Such person who understands it is called a sober person. So Krishna is explaining to us how we can understand who we are, what are we doing in this material world, how to come out of this cycle of misery and go back to a place where there is permanent happiness and permanent peace. We learned in chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita the peace formula. See, Bhagavad Gita is full of formulas about how to get peace, how to be permanently happy, how to break the cycle of birth and death, how to surrender. All these formulas are given to us. Formula is very, very important. Even in like factories or places where things are produced, like perfumes or any commodity that is produced, there is a formula behind it. You see what needs to be mixed with what substance to create a particular product. So here also Krishna is giving us so many formulas. So in chapter 5, the last verse, Krishna gives the peace formula. Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarva loka maheshwara. Ishvara means God. Maha Ishvara means supreme, supreme Lord. So he says, anyone who understands that I am the supreme Lord, I am the best friend, I am the benefactor, I am the ultimate controller, that person attains peace. So that's the peace formula. So when we start hearing Bhagavad Gita, I'm so grateful to all of you for coming on Sundays and hearing Bhagavad Gita, in a systematic way. See, hearing has to be systematic. It's not random. Like I remember I have a friend who told me, I said, do you read Bhagavad Gita? She's actually a doctor. And she said, yes, I do. So I said, how do you read it? And she said, I close my eyes and I just open the Bhagavad Gita and whichever page opens up, and that's what I read. That's not the way we read Bhagavad Gita. We read it systematically, right from chapter 1 through till chapter 18, last verse. And we systematically understand. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains who are the ones who like to hear Bhagavad Gita. There are 4 kinds of people. Chaturvidha bhajante mam. Jana sukritino Arjuna. Sukritino means pious people. 4 kinds of pious people like to hear Bhagavad Gita. And all of us, we fall in one of those 4 categories. One who is in distress. Anybody here in distress? Raise your hands. Everybody. Yes, Premanjali. Everybody is in distress. Who is in distress? Who is looking for money? If you want money, Krishna says, come to me. One who wants knowledge and one who is inquisitive. Let me see who is God. Let me see what Bhagavad Gita has to say. That's also considered a pious personality. So Krishna says that one who hears the Bhagavad Gita, then gradually one develops a desire to understand and know Krishna. Then one decides that, yes, I want to make a plan to come out of the cycle of birth and death. Then one makes what you call, supposing we have a goal in life. I want to succeed in business. I want to start business and I want to succeed. Then I need to have a plan. I can't just randomly say, oh, let me do this, let me do that. No, I need knowledge and I need a plan. So same applies for us also. If we want to break this cycle and go back to the spiritual world, then we need to have a plan. And that is what is given to us in the Bhagavad Gita. How to break the cycle of birth and death, how to give up this perverted reflection of the spiritual world, which is this material world, and go to the real thing, go to the spiritual world. I remember when I was little, I wanted to cook like my mother. And I was so little that it was not safe for me to be near the flame, to really cook like parents cook, like mother cooks. So she gave me a cooking set, a small toy cooking set. So I could sit down and then I could pretend to be cooking, pretend, right? That's not the real thing. That's just a toy. But then it gave me that pleasure of cooking. So in this material world, we are just with a reflection. We are just trying to find happiness here, do this, do that. But the real thing is in the spiritual world, and that is our original home, Goloka, Vrindavana. So till Krishna says, till we will be attached here in this material world to material things, it'll be very difficult to cut this material banyan tree. You see, we have money now, may not be there tomorrow. We have good health now, it may not be there tomorrow. We have so many possessions now, they may not be there tomorrow. We have certain positions that I am the CEO of the company or I am the manager, but it may not be there tomorrow. So, here and now, that we all who have gathered here to hear Bhagavad Gita, this is a golden opportunity. We have access to Bhagavad Gita as it is. Let me ask you a question. How many people live in this subdivision? I was going to say love. How many people live in this subdivision? 500 people. How many are sitting here? You see? Not everybody has access to Bhagavad Gita, right? Now on Facebook also, I don't know how many people are there, and on Zoom, so many people are there in this material world. But how many have access to Bhagavad Gita? Very, very few. Krishna says that Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhai, that out of thousands, only one is interested in self realization. So, we are those few fortunate people who have access to Bhagavad Gita, especially Bhagavad Gita as it is, with no interpretation, with no opinions, no decisions of somebody. No, it is pure knowledge coming down right from Krishna to us. And guess what? We are lucky to have association of devotees also. All of us, we are associating. It's an easy process. And the best part is, it is coming down in strict disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam. Krishna says this knowledge about self-realize. What is Bhagavad Gita? It's nothing but a book of self realization. How we can realize ourselves, that we are not this body and we are a spirit soul. So, He has given us an easy process in the Bhagavad Gita. He's given us knowledge as it is in the disciplic succession. What more do we want? Why waste human form? Right? There is no guarantee that in next life we will be a human being. So, supposing by chance we do become a human, there is no guarantee we will have access to Bhagavad Gita again. Even if someone gives us Bhagavad Gita as it is, there is no guarantee we'll open it and read. Even if we open and read, there's no guarantee we will follow it. So now that we have this opportunity, we should take full advantage of this great opportunity, because at the time of death, everything becomes zero. Can we take anything with us? Can we take our relatives? They wouldn't even want to come, right? Our relatives wouldn't even want to come. It's like, I remember this story I had heard, that there was this family where they were all attached to each other, which is natural, right? All families are attached, but that's wrong. We have to have affection for the family, but not attachment. Big difference, huge difference. What's the difference? Attachment means we are only interested in the material welfare of the family. Affection means we are looking after both material and spiritual welfare of the family. That's the difference. So here this family was very attached, not affectionate, but attached. So there was a saintly person who was walking by from their house, outside the house, and he was hearing their conversations and realized that they are very attached. And that means they are not using the human life or form correctly. So he decided to change them. So what he did, he rang the bell at midnight. Now, At midnight we get scared, if someone rings the bell, it's like, oh, who is it? Is it a cop? Is it a thief? Or who is it? So the husband opened the door, and so he saw this saintly person, and he said, who are you? He said, I am Yamaraj, the god of death, and I have come to take you. It's time for you to come with me. Your journey on this material planet is finished. You got to come with me. So he said, oh no, but I don't want to come now. You see, I am just married. Just a few months ago, I got married. I have no children. I haven't yet made a big bank balance. How can I come? So he said, well, then you go inside and bring any person of your family who can come with me. One person. I have to take one person. So you go, you decide amongst yourselves who is ready to come with me. He said, okay, wait. He closed the door and he went. He went to his wife first, naturally, that to newly married wife. And he said, you know what? I have so many goals in life. I have to achieve so many things. And here the God of death is there at the door. And I don't want to die. Can you die for me? She said, oh, I love you so much. Do you know, I fast for you. I keep fast for you. Of course, I only survive on, almond milk, and I only have a little bit of halwa. But then I'm fasting so that you have a long life. But I'm very young. But you don't worry. I'll take care of your mother after you go. So you can go. He was so disappointed. He said, okay, let me try my mother. So he went to his mother. Mother, I'm your favorite son. I'm your only son. And you told me you really love me. Can you do the sacrifice for me? There is this Lord of Death. Can you go instead of me? She said, oh, I really love you so much, my child. You are the apple of my eye. And, I will do anything for you. But you know what? I want to see the face. I want to see my grandchild. I have that desire. He said, but if I die, where will you get the grandchild? He said, don't worry. I will get your wife married to someone else. And then, you see, because what is my age now? I am only 65 years old. I'm so young. And don't worry, I'll take care of your business also. That's when he realized the attachment to the family. He went down, opened the door again, and he told the saintly person, I'm ready to come with you. Because here, there's nothing. No one really loves me. They are only attached to me. There is no affection. So the saintly person then said, well, I'm not the Lord of Death. I just wanted to open your eyes. I wanted you to understand that the material relationships here in this material world are temporary and they are not really full of affection. They are full of attachment. So then he said, now what should I do? So that saintly person explained to him, why don't you read the Bhagavad Gita as it is? You try and understand the purpose of human form of life. You try and explain it to your family. And the Bhagavad Gita clearly says, Satatam Kirtayanto Ma. That we should always chant the glories of the holy name, because that is how we'll be able to purify ourselves and become qualified to go back to the spiritual world. You see, at death, everything becomes zero. We cannot take our American Express card, we cannot take our degrees, we cannot take our bank balance, nothing at all. Everything becomes a zero. There was, how many of you have heard about Titanic? We all have heard, right? Most of us probably have even watched the movie Titanic. So, this is true. There was a Titanic survivor. He survived. So many people died, when the whole ship capsized, few people survived. So, out of those few people, there was one person, and this was in England. He lived in England. There is some, yeah, the sunlight coming in. So it's throwing a, yes, thank you. So there was this one survivor, Titanic survivor, and yeah, that's good. It's not coming anymore. Thank you. So he survived, but then gradually over the years, of course became old and he had some uh, health problems. And one of the health problem was that he was shaking all the time. I don't know what that disease is called, but he used to shake a lot, and he was not even able to eat because shaking. So his family members used to help him, feed him and all. So one time, and they had to even carry him and bring him to the dining table because he was shaking all the time. And so he was there at the dining table, and the I don't know how many people were there in his family, but the family members served him soup and kept the bowl of soup in front of him on the table. And that person went to do something else and come back to feed the soup to this Titanic survivor. Excuse me. But in the meantime, what happened, that because he was shaking so much, so much, so much, his head fell in the soup. And because he did not have control over his body, he couldn't pull his head out. And that a family member took a while to come back. And in the meantime, guess what happened? That Titanic survivor died in the bowl of soup. Can you believe that? Someone who was able to save himself from that big Titanic could not save himself from a bowl of soup. Can you imagine that? And this is true. This happened in England. So, anytime death can come, and at the time of death, we do not know what will be our physical condition. Will we be able to save ourselves? Krishna says that yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajat ante kalevram tam tam evati kanteya sada tad bhava bhavit. That whoever remembers me at the time of death, to that state one attains without fail. So, if we remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death, then He is going to save us and take us back to Godhead. But for that, we need to follow the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So, when we start associating, like today, we are associating with each other, we are devotees, we are trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita. So, when we associate with each other, then we'll have a desire to progress on this path of self realization. And then we will learn how to detach ourselves. In chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, Yagnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Tad artham karma kantya mukta sangha samacha. If we want to get liberated, if we want to be free of attachment, then we need to work as a sacrifice for the Supreme Lord. That does not mean that, oh, I don't want to be entangled, so I'm not going to do any work. I want to stay liberated, so I'm not going to do any work. No, we got to work, but we just need to change our consciousness. We need to change the consciousness in which we work. It is called an art of living. Excuse me, not what we hear in this material world, that society which talks about art of living. No. Bhagavad Gita is talking about art of living and also art of dying. So, this is how we can gradually become self realized and go to the spiritual world. Now, we're talking so much about going to the spiritual world. That is why Krishna in this today's verse is giving us knowledge about the spiritual world. It is called Paramadhama, Paramam Dhamam. Paramam means it is eternal. So when this creation is annihilated, spiritual world does not get annihilated. It's only the material creation that gets annihilated. So Krishna says that abode of mine is eternal. It is full of six opulences. It is full of knowledge, full of beauty, full of wealth, full of renunciation, full of fame, and full of strength. And guess what? It has desire trees. It's called Kalpavriksha. How many of us would like to have a desire tree in our backyard, right? We just stand there and we say, today I desire to become the king of the whole world, and boom, we become the king of the whole world. Do we have such desire tree? No. Wish we had, but there is no desire tree in the material world. But in the spiritual world, Krishna says, first of all, it is illuminated by my internal potency of Krishna, the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence that's coming out from the Supreme Lord. So, this is what the Supreme Abode looks like, the spiritual abode, which is called Goloka Vrindavana or Krishna Loka. That is his abode. And he resides there eternally. So, if we have that goal in mind, that I want to go to a place where there are no miseries, where there's permanent happiness, and from where I do not return into the cycle of misery, then we need to understand what that spiritual world looks like, how to reach there. Simple. Srila Prabhupada has given us a simple process which begins with mantra meditation, which we do after every class, right? Mantra meditation. Because what is mantra? Man means mind, and tra means to free the mind of all anxieties and go to a place which is Vaikuntha, where there is no anxiety. And that mantra meditation helps us to purify not only our mind, our senses, our body, our intelligence, and also our consciousness. This is how we can start this process of bhakti yoga and be able to qualify ourselves to go back to the spiritual. There is no other way. According to Bhagavad Gita, there is no other way. So we chant every day. What do we chant? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. This is how we purify ourselves and go to the spiritual world. So today we've heard the glories of the spiritual world, which is called Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. And Bhagavad Gita is giving us a process by which we can go to that spiritual world. So I'm going to end now. If anyone has any questions or comments, you are welcome to ask. And thank you so much for joining.